Under President Donald J. Trump, America just woke up to a double crisis that has the entire world on edge. On one side, Chicago, streets jammed, ICE facilities surrounded, far-left activists rioting in outrage after one single Trump post sent shockwaves across the city. The so-called coalition against the Trump agenda, Palestinian activists, trans activists, open border agitators, they're all marching, they're all screaming, they're all melting down at the same time. And while they're chanting and rioting, the gunfire in Chicago has not stopped. Homicides and shootings piling up, law and order crumbling. But this is only half the story, because at the exact same moment, halfway across the world, Russia's launched the largest drone assault in history. 800 drones swarming the skies over Ukraine. The scale is so massive, it is so relentless that it shook NATO allies and forced civilians into underground shelters, praying the skies would not rain fire. Now, here's a twist, guys. After these incidents have exploded, everyone is wondering, what is going on? Are we like on the border of World War III? These aren't two separate stories. This is the coalition. This is literally the collision of a crisis, chaos at home and chaos abroad. It's hitting America at the exact same time. And President Trump is facing riots in the streets while foreign adversaries are tightening their grip overseas. So today I want to go ahead and break down how President Trump's words set off Chicago like a powder keg, why Russia's drone army could rewrite the rules of modern war, and the dangerous truth about the global alliances that are forming against the West. This is not just another news day. This is the day that America stares down riots at home and war abroad at the exact same time. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you so much, guys. President Trump, he's doing his best here. He's in the White House, and America is staring down this double crisis that nobody thought would collide on the same day. Now, on the one front, here at home, Chicago is on fire. Streets are packed, ICE facilities surrounded, activists marching under banners that they can barely keep straight. One moment, it's about immigration. The next one, it's about Palestine. And the next, it's about trans rights. It's crazy what they're doing in the streets right now. But the one thing that's uniting them, a seething hatred for Trump. After just one social post lit this fuse. Now, on the one front, halfway across the world, Russia unleashes the largest drone strike in modern history. 800 drones darkening the skies over the Ukraine in a single coordinated effort. Now, think about that. Not 8, not 80, 800. This is the kind of swarm that overwhelms every defense system and forces civilians underground, praying that the skies don't collapse. So here's a question, folks. Is America now collapsing from within while being tested from abroad? Because it sure looks like that way. Now, I want to drill down into what set this off. Trump takes to Truth Social and posts, quote, "I love the smell of deportation in the morning." Now, you know what that was, right? This is Trump being Trump, okay? This is a direct shot at the open borders Democrats who have turned sanctuary cities into war zones. And then what happens? Well, Illinois Democrats and Chicago activists, they absolutely lose it. They erupt in outrage, calling him a dictator, calling ICE fascist. But it doesn't stop there. A full-on coalition forms. Palestinian activists, trans rights groups, professional Trump haters. Yes, I said professional Trump haters, all marching together, screaming, chanting, demanding ICE be dismantled. But where do they take the fight? They take it straight to ICE hubs. Broadview. This is where a temporary processing center is set up. Naval Station, Great Lakes, ICE's logistical hub city north of the city. Now, both are surrounded by angry mobs chanting in the night. But here's the situation nobody wants to talk about. While they're marching against ICE, Chicago itself is bleeding. 2 homicides, 5 more shot in just a single day. The body count is rising while politicians scream about deportations instead of crime victims. Now, law and order in Chicago is not cracking. It is collapsing. This is the reality, folks. Trump posts one sentence and the far left coalition proves his point for him. The streets melt down. ICE is under siege, and the people of Chicago, they're left unprotected as the bullets keep flying. Now, here's a secret that most people don't know. Medicare benefits are constantly being updated. New programs, new perks, new ways to save. But your plan's not going to call you up and say, hey, there's something better out there. Let me tell you about it. No, they're not going to do that. So this is why I partner with Chapter. They know every update. They know every option and every loophole that can put money back in your pocket. Now, one of my viewers said, I found out that I qualified for benefits that I didn't even know existed until Chapter explained it to me. I love that. So let me ask, are you okay missing opportunities, or would you rather do what most people are already doing, finding out what's available? Well, most people, they're already calling the phone number on the bottom of your screen right there, or they're visiting askchapter.org/Ron. The phone number is 909-563-8279. So here's the question every American's asking right now. Where is the backup? Where's the cavalry? That's what they're asking. Now, Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, who just returned from Washington, says that she saw firsthand what happens when the National Guard steps in. She described it in detail. Troops moving supplies, securing checkpoints, hauling away illegal weapons, keeping order where chaos once reigned. Now, Washington, D.C. was calmer, safer, more stable with the Guard on the ground. She says Chicago could see the same thing, only if Democrats would allow it. But Chicago officials, they won't budge. The mayor says no. Local leaders say it would look like an occupation. And the result? Police are outnumbered, watching mobs grow larger and larger by the day, buildings forced to shut down, businesses losing millions, ordinary families trapped in their homes, while city leaders wring their hands about optics. So here's where it gets really frustrating, okay? Governor J.B. Pritzker had no problem calling in the National Guard when it was time to protect Democrats at their convention. I mean, he moved really fast. He brought in the troops, set up the barriers, even kept the delegates safe. No debate, no hesitation. But when it comes to protecting Chicago's own citizens from rioters and criminals, suddenly, all of a sudden, it's just too controversial. Suddenly, it's off limits. So I ask you straight, is Chicago being sacrificed for political optics? Are Democrats willing to watch a city collapse just to avoid giving Trump a win on law and order? This is the uncomfortable truth that's staring us right in the face right now. But while America's playing politics with riots and Guard deployments, the world is witnessing something that's even darker unfold. Russia just unleashed the largest drone strike in modern warfare. 800 drones launched in a single coordinated assault on Kyiv. Now think about that. Think about that number. Imagine seeing 800 drones in the sky over your head. You're looking up at them. And this wasn't just an attack. This was a message. This was clearly a show of force meant to overwhelm everything in its path. Ukraine's air defense systems lit up the night sky trying to stop them, but you can't shoot down swarms that large without running out of ammo or running out of energy or running out of time. Eyewitnesses described the scene like something from out of a nightmare. Sirens were wailing, families were rushing into underground shelters, skies were buzzing with the sound of drones by the hundreds, streets plunged into basically blackouts as explosions were knocking out the power grids. And the fear, oh man, the fear was, it wasn't just about one strike. It was about the realization that Russia can repeat this again and again and again. And so this isn't just war. This is psychological warfare at scale at this point. It's really about breaking a nation's will before breaking its walls down. Now, drones aren't just weapons. They're terror on autopilot. Putin knows it, and today the world knows it too. So while Chicago riots spiral out of control, while Democrats are arguing over Guard deployments and America's enemies are are basically proving that they're willing to escalate to levels that we haven't seen before, we really have to let this sink in. Domestic chaos here at home. There's drone swarms abroad, and they're both unfolding today under President Donald J. Trump. So here's the real question Americans deserve an answer to know. How can Russia afford to fire off 800 drones in one night? Like, how are they sustaining a war that was supposed to cripple their economy and isolate them from the world? Well, the brutal truth is Russia has lifelines, and they're bigger than anybody wants to admit. I mean, let's start with China. Beijing is buying more than 20% of Russia's oil and gas. This means that billions of dollars are flowing directly into Moscow's war machine every single month. And Beijing doesn't care about the West's sanctions. They care about cheap energy and keeping Putin strong enough to stand shoulder to shoulder against America. Now, look at India, right? Before this war, India was barely a blip on Russia's oil export list, practically negligible. But now they've ramped up to hundreds of millions of dollars in purchases, tanker after tanker headed south, keeping Russian coffers full, keeping drone factories running, keeping this war alive. And then, of course, there's North Korea. Not just whispering support from the sidelines, sending troops, sending weapons, sending manpower to prop up Putin's fight. Now imagine that. A rogue nuclear state lending boots and bullets to Russia, all while America debates what kind of sanctions to apply next. So let's call it what it is. Russia, China, India, and North Korea have effectively locked arms. It's a new axis forming in plain sight. And who are they up against? Ukraine, NATO, Europe, and yes, of course, the United States. The battlefield may be Kyiv, but the war lines, they stretch all the way across the globe. And so what's Washington's answer? Well, it's the same old song. Sanctions, freeze the bank, target the oligarch, cancel a yacht. It sounds tough, but let's be honest. If sanctions were really working, Russia wouldn't have the resources to launch 800 drones today. So the question becomes, why not just go nuclear on sanctions, right? Why not cut them off completely from the global financial system? Why not slam the door so hard that Russia can't fund another drone, can't pay another soldier, and can't buy another bullet? Well, here's where it gets even more frustrating. America holds a weapon that could cripple this axis overnight. Energy independence. Now, remember the days of drill baby drill? Well, under President Trump, we are now on track to dominate energy markets, to starve adversaries of cash by flooding the world with American oil and gas. But decades of dependency on foreign supply chains and the Democrats' obsession with green illusions, it's really kind of left us ultimately tangled and vulnerable at this point, to be honest. So meanwhile, Russia and China, they're laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, one side weaponizing drones, the other side weaponizing energy. And America, we're told to believe that sanctions alone can stop a machine army funded by billions pouring in from the East. Let me be clear, guys. Sanctions do not stop swarms. Dollars don't shoot drones down, okay? Energy policy decides who lives and who kneels. And unless America wakes up, Russia's war chest is going to keep filling. The drone swarms are going to keep flying. And our enemies, they will keep gaining ground. And so while Russia escalates abroad, the meltdown here at home, it only grows louder and uglier. Democrats, they have turned immigration into a political circus. They're not just fighting ICE, they're mocking it. They're throwing names around like Alligator Alcatraz and Panhandle Pokey to make detention facilities sound more like some cruel carnival attraction. They parade in front of cameras pretending that they care about humanitarian values. They don't really care. But here's the kicker. For decades, they have ignored ICE's Chrome detention facility in Florida. It's been there for years, doing the exact same job, housing the same detainees without a peep of a protest. Why? Because it didn't have a flashy name, because it wasn't useful for political theater. This is not even about justice. This is purely about optics. How does it look on the outside, right? This is about creating outrage where there doesn't even need to be any outrage. When quietly tolerating the exact same thing for decades, when it doesn't suit their narratives, that just proves it. Democrats, they don't want detention centers. They don't want deportations. They want catch and release. They want busloads of migrants dropping into your neighborhoods, no questions asked, no accountability, no safety. And when Trump and ICE step in to enforce the law, all of a sudden the left calls it fascism. So I want to be honest. This isn't sabotage, internal sabotage. Okay. This is, in fact, exactly what this is. Like President Trump, he tries to restore order, and then Democrats are out there undermining it at every step, even if it means putting American families at risk. And now, if you stack that meltdown on top of what's happening abroad, you've got Russia launching these swarms of drones designed to terrify entire nations. At home, Democrats are launching swarms of activists designed to terrify ICE and silence Trump supporters. Abroad, America's enemies are aligning into a new axis: Russia, China, India, North Korea. But at home, Trump's enemies are aligning into a coalition of chaos: open borders, activists, far left radicals, and political opportunists. The parallels are terrifying, guys, and they're absolutely deliberate, which brings us to the breaking point. President Donald J. Trump is staring down two wars at once. Now, on the inside, you got riots in Chicago, ICE under siege, far left radicals are screaming in the streets while bullets fly and innocent people die, a government that's too divided to even call in the National Guard. Now, on the outside, a global war machine grinding forward, adversaries pooling their resources, drone swarms filling the skies, and America's supposed allies are questioning whether sanctions and speeches are enough to hold the line. Here's a question you really need to ask yourself. If both the streets of Chicago and the skies over Ukraine are erupting on the same day, how long before America itself faces the ultimate test? I mean, like, how long before the enemies inside and, the enemies abroad collide, forcing the nation to make a choice, submit or fight back harder than ever before? I mean, the double crisis is here. It's not theoretical. It's not tomorrow. It is, September 8th under President Donald J. Trump, and history will remember how we respond. Like, subscribe, and share this message because the fight for America's survival, it's already underway, and it's happening on two fronts at the same time.